So the Summer Game Fest happened. I'm going to be talking about the Summer Game Fest opening day, which includes the Summer Game Fest showcase, as well as the Day of the Devs and the Devolver Direct. I'm only going to be talking about the games that I am personally interested in. I'm not going to be talking about all of them. I'm only going to be talking about the ones that I have some interest in, whether they be good or bad. There were a lot of games here that I have just nothing to really say on, so we're just going to be skipping over those. I'm going to be talking about all of the Summer Game Fest stuff in the future, like the Xbox showcase, which is happening tomorrow as of recording of this video. This Summer Game Fest was okay. If you were to ask me what I think of it, I think it's better than the State of Play that I did a video on. So you can go watch that video if you're interested in that. But I would not say this is much better. There was a lot of garbage here. I had to sift through a lot of garbage to get the stuff that I liked, or stuff that I had to talk about. But let's talk about the Summer Game Fest 2024. So yeah, be sure to subscribe with notifications on to be notified for whenever I talk about the other showcases during the Summer Game Fest. And let's get into it. This game was originally leaked for the Sony State of Play, and so I was confused to not see it there, but the leak turned out to be wrong. This game, the Lego Horizon game, is at this showcase rather than at the State of Play, which makes a lot of sense now. I don't really have much to say on this game. I'm not really a big Horizon fan. I've played a few of the Horizon games, and I don't really care for them. And this does look like a more traditional Lego game, which I am very much for after the travesty that was the Skywalker saga. It doesn't look like a game that I'll play personally, but it's nice for Horizon fans, and I like to see Lego going back to this more traditional style of their games. There was a Harry Potter Quidditch game showed off. I don't care about Harry Potter. I am addicted to the Civilization games, so I was pretty excited to see Civilization 7 get announced. That being said, they didn't show gameplay. They said they were going to show it in August, so I will talk more about this in August when that happens. Just like Civilization 7, I have no real input on the Batman Arkham VR game, but I do have one input, that being why VR? Like, a lot of people were begging for a new Batman, like a new traditional Batman Arkham game, and they come out with a VR game. It's kind of like a monkey's paw situation where people were begging for a traditional Arkham game, and it's like, you're going to get it, but it's going to be VR exclusive, and it's going to be exclusive to the Oculus Quest 3. So, ew. There was Street Fighter DLC, which showed off a crossover DLC expansion with characters from the Fatal Fury series, which is cool. I only know Fatal Fury from Smash Bros, obviously, because I'm a pathetic normie. But I do know at least some of the characters, so that's cool. But what was kind of felt weird about this DLC pack is that it's all of the Fatal Fury characters, and yet there's also M. Bison here for some reason. I get that it's pretty big to have him in Street Fighter 6 now, but he's kind of weird alongside all of these Fatal Fury characters to me. Like it's Fatal Fury, M. Bison. Like they couldn't think of a fourth Fatal Fury character, so they just shoved him in. This was probably the biggest surprise of the whole showcase. Blumhouse Games showed up. So Blumhouse is doing a video game publishing division of their company, and they didn't show up with one game. They showed up with 6. And I actually really like what they're doing here. So Blumhouse, what they're doing, they're not making the games themselves, but they are publishing indie games. So what they're doing is they're taking indie games that they take these indie horror games that they see, and they are publishing them under Blumhouse to kind of give them more of a chance in the horror game space. And that's really cool, honestly. And some of the games looked pretty interesting from the stuff that we saw at the showcase. So I'm definitely interested in this, and I'll keep an eye on this. This honestly looks pretty good. So this one's an odd case. I can't exactly tell from the trailer, but this game, the Power Rangers one, kind of reminds me of that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fighting game, which me and the Duke loved playing that when that came out like a few years ago. And if this is anything like that, then it'll probably be pretty fun. So I'll definitely keep an eye on this one. Now, this looks pretty cool. There was an Alan Wake 2 DLC pack called the Night Springs pack. It's pretty cool. So it's 3 mini stories all involving other characters from Remedy's universe that they've created here. One of them is the girl from Control, which I haven't played a whole lot of Control, but that seems pretty cool. And it's all based around the Night Springs TV show, which is in the fictional world of Alan Wake. It's kind of similar to Twilight Zone. And they did a very similar thing, I recall, for Alan Wake 1. They did the American Nightmare thing, where that was in a TV show. That was in one of a Night Springs episode. So that's kind of cool that they do Night Springs for the DLC again here. It launches as of this recording today, so I don't know if it's free or not. I didn't really catch if it was free or not. But if it is, then I'll be checking it out. And if it's not, I'm probably gonna buy it anyway because I really liked Alan Wake 2. God, that name is so stupid. Just call it Skate 4. Why? I hate it when movies or games, they do this where they reboot it and it's just the name of the franchise. And the trailer wasn't that much better either. It doesn't really show anything. And they did a stupid live action skit like beforehand. And it was just kind of weird. So I don't know. It might be fun, but they didn't really focus on the game all too much. The hit PC game Valorant is coming to console players. There, I did it, and I didn't need to take 10 minutes out of the presentation in order to say it. This went on for so long. Why did they focus? It was like 10 minutes of the showcase focused on Valorant coming to consoles. 1, it's an old game being ported, not a new game. And 2, you don't need 10 minutes to announce that. This was just sort of annoying. So Inner Sloth showed up here with 2 announcements. One was the announcement of Outer Sloth, which is a publishing studio that they're making. If I were to make a comparison, it's very similar to what Video Game Donkey is doing with Big Mode right now, where they are looking for smaller creators and giving them more of a platform by publishing games for them, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see that kind of stuff, and I'm honestly really excited about that. The other thing they announced was the Among Us TV show. Didn't really show a whole lot, but I mean, I don't really know what to say for the Among Us TV show. It's got a bunch of big names in it, and I think it isn't like CBS or something is making it. So I really don't know what's going to be for this, but they didn't really show much. But it might be interesting. I'll stick around and see. Usually I would bash a trailer for not showing any gameplay, but they actually have shown gameplay in the past for this game, so it's less egregious here. Dune Awakenings, this was the story trailer, and it sort of is like, they explain it's like in an alternate universe Dune, where Paul Atreides, the main character, was never born. I don't really know how that plays into like an MMO RPG type thing, but I mean, it's kind of cool, I guess. Slitterhead is the new game from the guy who did the Silent Hill franchise. That's pretty cool. That being said, I have no idea what this game is. I watched the trailer and I still have no idea what's happening. I guess it really is like a game that you just have to play to understand it, and I'll probably play it because it's a big name guy doing it, but I don't really know. Yeah, this one didn't really grab me all that much, which is a shame because like it's the Silent Hill guy, but I don't know. In Killer Bean, you play as a bean that goes around and does cool stuff, and that's the entire game. I'm picking this thing up day one. This is the brand new game from the Stanley Parable developers, which is really weird that they go from like Beginner's Guide and Stanley Parable to this. Both of those were walking simulators where you walked forward and interesting stuff happened, but Wanderstop kind of just sort of looks like a farming sim with like a slight twist to it. I don't really know. They didn't really show much, but I mean, I'm at least kind of interested. They ended the Summer Game Fest showcase by showing off Phantom Blade Zero, which was announced at a PlayStation State of Play, and this looks just as good here as it did at that State of Play. I am kind of getting sick of the feudal Japan theme. Like, there's so much stuff that's either already released that's feudal Japan or just getting announced that's feudal Japan just this year, and I'm kind of getting sick of the theme, but to be honest, I'm cool with the look of this game. It looks very fast and fluid and something that I'm going to like, so that's cool. Moving on to all the stuff that was announced at Day of the Devs. Usually, Day of the Devs is the stuff that I end up liking more than the main Summer Game Fest thing, because Day of the Devs usually has all the experimental titles and the stuff that usually takes more risks and as being focused on indie games. And the start of the Day of the Devs, they talked about Karen. I really hope that I'm saying that right. It's a mountain climbing game, which recently we've actually gotten quite a few mountain climbing games in the indie scene. So, I mean, this thing looks like it's trying to stand out. It's got very nice looking visuals, and the climbing mechanics look really fun. And I might pick it up, but I don't really know. There's so many mountain climbing indie games that this is like, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. Now, this game looks pretty cool. This is UFO 50. It's from the developers of Spelunky, and man, does this thing look cool. Basically, what they did was they basically created a fake video game company called UFO Soft, and they created like 50 games that this company has made over the course of gaming history, and that's pretty cool. You get to like see how they evolved and like what mascots they used and how they used technology like the Super Nintendo and NES. It's a pretty cool idea for a game, and I'm probably going to be picking it up and maybe even reviewing it on this channel. I talked about Arranger during my Nintendo Partner Showcase video, which I also feature on this channel. I liked the look of it back then, and I like the look of it now. It looks like a really fun little puzzle game, and I'm always looking for new puzzle games. I'm a massive fan of that genre. So to see this game here was pretty cool. Honestly, it was a real treat to see. There's always that one game at Day of the Devs every year that just sort of blows you away with its elevator pitch, and I really think that's what Screenbound is. Basically, the idea of it is that it's a 3D and 2D platformer playing at the same time. So you'll be solving puzzles in a 3D space while fighting enemies in a 2D space. So far, it doesn't really look like it's gotten past the tech demo stage yet of development, but I can't wait to see what the developers do with this game. Now we get to the weird-looking game. This is Zoocosis. It's basically like a job simulator, kind of similar to Power Wash Simulator or something like that. But you work a zoo that happens to feature mutant animals, and it's kind of like a horror game mixed with a job simulator. And I honestly think that's a pretty cool idea, and we'll probably be picking it up and playing it. And who knows, I'll maybe even do a review on it. The final thing they showed off was a game called Tides of Tomorrow, and I know I don't usually like talking about games that don't show gameplay in their trailers, but this one might be kind of interesting. Basically, from the look of it, what I can see, it's kind of like a multiplayer sort of Telltale game, where it's a choose your own adventure type thing, but somebody has already gone through and made choices for you, and these characters are now interacting with you again, that now you have to deal with that sort of consequence that you didn't make, which is pretty cool, honestly. It's just a shame that the trailer didn't really describe this that well. Moving on to the final showcase of this video, the Devolver Direct was up next. And Devolver takes a weird angle with their directs, and they sort of do a skit mixed in with trailers, which is kind of weird, but I'm just going to be focusing on the stuff that was announced. And the first thing they announced, Cult of the Lamb is getting a co-op update. So you can play Cult of the Lamb with your friends. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm probably not going to be playing Cult of the Lamb that much. Like, this isn't going to bring me back or anything, but it is a pretty cool thing for people who want that. Angerfoot. This is from the guys that did Gorn, and this is a very different game than Gorn. Basically, you're going through multiple levels, and it's a type of thing where you die in one hit, but so do enemies. And the whole thing is built around feet, and this one was mainly around shoes that you can wear during the game that give you different abilities. So that's pretty cool. I'll probably be playing this, and I'll definitely be doing a review of this game when it comes out. Talos Principle 2 got DLC, which is pretty cool. I gotta play way more Talos Principle 2 though. I only played a little bit of it that I could, but it was like a very busy season when the base game came out. But this DLC looks pretty cool, and it looks like more Talos Principle. So if you're interested in that, then there you go. Tenjutsu looks like a Neo Japan beat 'em up brawler type game, and honestly that seems pretty cool. It looks very fast paced, very chaotic. The pixel art looks beautiful, and I'll probably be checking this one out. Actually, it looks pretty interesting. The final thing announced for this whole Summer Games Fest opening day was Possessors, I think is how you say it. It's kind of spelt weird, but it's from people that did Solar Ash and Hyper Light Drifter, I believe, not Breaker. That's being done by a different team or something. But it kind of looks like a 2D platformer, and what they described it as is a 2D platformer with Smash Brothers controls, and that seems like a kind of interesting idea. So I'll be keeping an eye on this. The artwork looks beautiful. Which is to be expected from the studio, and I'll be keeping my eye on this one for sure. In summary, this Summer Game Fest opening showcase was kinda not the best. It's okay when you compare it to something like the State of Play from just a week ago, but man, did I have to cut out a lot of stuff because there was so much garbage at this direct. There was just so much games that I had just had nothing to say on, even from Day of the Devs, which I was very shocked by. Like the first half of most of what I talked about in this video is from the first half of Day of the Devs, and like the second half was just a bunch of games that didn't really catch my attention. So it's just sort of mediocre, this Summer Game Fest showcase. I feel like we've lost so much of what made E3 really special, because E3 wasn't perfect, but there were so many big moments that everybody remembers. Keanu Reeves showing up at the Xbox showcase, or PlayStation absolutely owning the Xbox One when that happened, or just the big reveals of Smash Brothers and Zelda and all this stuff from the old E3s. And it seems like that now with Summer Game Fest, studios have forgotten how to really do a proper reveal. And honestly, that's kind of saddening to see. But this was not a bad showcase like the State of Play. This was just a very mediocre one. There was still a lot of good looking games here, and games that I'll definitely be interested in, but it just doesn't have the same oomph that the old E3 showcases had. that's all I got for now. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and hit that bell icon to be notified for whenever I make a new video. I'll be talking about the Xbox showcase next, but I also do reviews on this channel. So if you're interested in that, or interested in supporting the channel more, then go check those videos out. Okay, that's it. Bye.